Hi everyone! Welcome to another Parent Workshop webinar brought to you by the Hangout spot. My name is Megan Cave. Justina Balzar and I are excited to share today's discussion about teaching children to tolerate wearing face masks. We are thrilled that you have chosen to join our community today, and we hope that this webinar is helpful to you as you continue to navigate today's new normal with your child. Before we get started, please pause the video and read the disclaimer on your screen. Push play when you're ready to continue. By viewing this presentation, you agree that you have read and understand the disclaimer presented here. Great, let's get started. The CDC currently recommends wearing cloth face coverings in public settings where other social distancing measures are difficult to maintain. In addition, children who are considered high risk or severely immunocompromised are especially encouraged to wear masks for protection. In recent weeks, local orders in certain areas have either mandated or recommended the use of face masks in public. Wearing masks may not be necessary while we're staying safe at home, but as our country starts to socialize once again, returning to work and school and more, the need to tolerate a mask in public may become more pressing. For children, wearing a mask may be particularly uncomfortable and scary. And some children may engage in behaviors to escape or avoid mask use. For these kids, developing these skills will require thoughtful, patient teaching. Starting sooner rather than later can increase the likelihood that your child will be ready to sport his or her mask in public when the time comes. Let's talk strategy. When it comes to masks, one size does not fit all. For little ones, you can avoid the issue entirely by putting a cover on your baby carrier. For other children, make sure the mask you use is kid-sized. Using adult-size equipment on little faces or vice versa can increase discomfort, making the demand more aversive than necessary. So be sure that the fit is correct from the start. Now, you don't need to jump straight to a surgical mask. Start with comfy, familiar materials. An old soft t-shirt, a favorite winter scarf, or even a cozy sheet. All of these can be turned into great do-it-yourself masks. Also, give some thought to winter gear that your child is already comfortable with. For example, one of those neck warmer ski gears that can be pulled up high around the mouth or nose. Good news, if you don't make it past this step, the CDC currently says that some form of mask protection is better than none. So even just being able to tolerate a do-it-yourself version of a face mask represents a really significant step. The CDC has produced a how-to guide to do-it-yourself mask making. You can access this video on the CDC website, and we wanted to take a moment to share it with you here as well.
Here's how you can make your own face covering in a few easy steps with items you can find around the house, like an old scarf, a bandana or a hand towel, or you can make a face covering out of an old t-shirt. Fold it to the middle from the bottom, fold it to the middle from the top, fold it again to the middle from the bottom, and again from the top, and then 2 rubber bands, one on one side and one on the other side. Then you fold either side to the middle and you have yourself cloth face covering. It's that easy.
Again, you can find this video and other really helpful resources on the CDC website. Make masks more fun by giving your child the time to personalize and decorate. You could cover masks with favorite characters. We've got Bugs Bunny right here. Or you can glue on ribbons, sequins, all kinds of glam. In fact, my mom actually sent me in the mail a week or so ago a handmade mask that had the most adorable little bow affixed to the upper corner, which was a really great personal touch. Or you can pick a mask in your child's favorite color. Now, if you're pressed for time or materials, there are some great pre-made options available for purchase online. And you could check out Mask Club and Crocel Crochet and Knits for some of our favorites. You may have seen on the news that Ashley Lawrence, who's a senior at Eastern Kentucky University studying deaf and hard of hearing education, created this really cool mask that has a clear panel on the front, which allows individuals who are deaf to read lips and facial cues while still adhering to the CDC's guidelines on face coverings. We love the idea of finding a style that allows you to still see someone's mouth. For our children who may rely on facial expressions to interpret or express feelings, limiting the ability to see someone's mouth can be really scary. So using a see-through mask can alleviate some of this burden for children with whom that is a concern. We've provided two different ideas for you here. The first is the DHH Mask Project by Ashley Lawrence. And on the screen you will see an email address. So at the time of this recording, Ashley was encouraging individuals who were deaf or hard of hearing to email her at that email address to request a free mask similar to the one pictured on the screen. And if that's not an option available to you, you can also check out www.theclearmask.com for a very similar concept. Looks a little different, but still has that clear panel that allows you to see the individual's face. Wearing masks is different, and we all know change is hard. So some children may think that wearing a mask is quote unquote weird, or that people will look at them funny for doing so. So normalize mask use to the greatest degree possible. Dress up stuffed animals and dolls. Model mask use by wearing your own as much as possible. You could even show your child pictures of other children wearing masks. You might even print some coloring pages and go ahead and draw some masks on those favorite characters. The idea is the more you can do to make wearing masks seem like no big deal, the better. So when teaching mask use skills, it's really important to increase tolerance slowly and systematically. Here, we've provided an outline of what that teaching might look like. Of course, the process outlined here is only an example, and all teaching must be individualized to fit the needs of each specific child. But the idea is to provide increased exposure over time, reinforcing closer and closer approximations to our ultimate goal, which is wearing face masks in accordance with the CDC guidelines. In this example, we would practice probably at least daily, but perhaps more frequently if warranted, starting at step 1 and allowing the child to access highly preferred activities or items during practice sessions. So for example, in this situation, the child would practice tolerating other people wearing a mask while watching his or her favorite videos. Now do not move on to the next step until your child can handle the current requirement several times in a row with no problems. You want to move through your individualized progression slowly and systematically, taking steps backwards to earlier steps if needed. So what does that look like? Here we've provided some visuals of each step outlined in this example. You can see that in the first photo, I'm tolerating my friend Justina wearing her mask. We can be in the same room, in the same space, and she might look a little different, but that's okay with me. Then the mask is coming closer to me. I'm still not required to interact with it in any way. I'm not being required to look at it. I'm not being required to touch it. I'm not being required to wear it on my face, but it is pretty close to me and I can handle that. Then I'm beginning to explore the mask with my fingers, with my hands. I'm touching the inside, the outside, the strings, any decorations that are affixed to it. I'm not being required to bring the mask towards my face, but I am being required to manipulate it with my hands. Once I can handle this step, things are getting a little more challenging. Now I'm practicing wearing the mask tied really loosely around my neck, similar to, say, a necklace, but it's not touching my face in any way. Once I'm mastering that step, I'm ready to move on to beginning to tolerate the feel of the fabric on my face. So in this next picture, the mask is tied around my face, but it is only covering my chin. So my mouth and my nose are not yet obstructed. Once I'm really good in tolerating that step, I move on to the next, where the mask is again tied around my face, and it's covering my mouth, but not my nose. And then finally, in the last photograph, I'm wearing the mask in accordance with CDC guidelines, covering both my mouth and my nose. And again, this process all needs to be individualized to meet the needs of your family and your child. And this is just an example we've provided here. We recommend that you practice at home before you go into public so that you can safely manage any behaviors that might occur while maintaining your child's dignity. Skills should be taught in the comfort of your house at first. And we recommend practicing in different spaces at home. So perhaps in the kitchen, in the bedroom, in the backyard, etc., with the intention of teaching your child to apply this skill across settings from the start. Once mastery at home has been achieved, then you can work on generalizing this skill to the public. And even then, you might start off with things like wearing your mask while you go for a walk around the neighborhood or a drive around town. You might try to turn it into a game. We have all used games to increase behaviors we want to see. It's amazing how the let's see who can go the longest without speaking game can immediately reduce all noise. Try, let's see who can wear their mask the longest and see similar effects materialize before your eyes. Or pretend the mask is a costume, like a superhero. The idea here is to make it as fun as possible. The more fun it is, the more likely your child is going to be interested in engaging in the process with you. Next, identify what serves as a reward for your child. Remember, different things are motivating for different children. Then provide access to these rewards contingent on tolerating mask use. Most importantly, praise, praise, praise. The more often you praise mask tolerance, the more likely you are to see it demonstrated again in the future. There are some really great accommodations out there for children who find masks particularly uncomfortable or aversive. And we've provided a few examples here, but a quick Google search will yield many options for sensory-friendly mask alternatives. Now, we want to be clear that we aren't indicating that the accommodations here on the screen necessarily meet the CDC recommendations regarding mask use. However, these can be great teaching tools. You can use some of these designs to get your child accustomed to the idea of having some kind of screen near their face. Using this in your progression to work up towards mask use in accordance with the CDC guidelines. And actually, the image in the middle, we've seen a few different varieties of this. So we've seen buttons attached to headbands. We've seen buttons attached to baseball caps or other hats as a way to alleviate some of the pressure that the strings or bands can place upon the ear, which might make mask use more comfortable for some children. Again, the idea here is to use these as tools and teaching methodologies to get your child closer and closer to being able to wear a mask in accordance with CDC guidelines. You might start with some of these alternatives to increase tolerance and work up to that ultimate goal over time. And we've actually provided you with the examples here. So we have the Open Sky Anti-Droplet Visor Shield Bucket Hat, Face Protective Cover-Up Sun Cap. We also have the Happy Together by Jess headbands with buttons. And on eBay, there's many different options available, but the eBay option displayed here is a baseball hat with a removable face shield. All right, now when all else fails, teach the backup skills. According to healthcare professionals, social distancing and hand washing continue to be our biggest defense, or one of our biggest defenses, against coronavirus. You can check out our previous webinar on teaching healthy hand washing habits for some more tricks and tips. We hope you enjoyed today's presentation, brought to you by the Hangout Spot, which is Connecticut's first center using the fundamentals of the science of applied behavior analysis to teach play and social smarts. Here at the Hangout Spot, we believe that all children have a right to meaningful friendships and relationships across the lifespan. We strive to eliminate barriers to friendship and empower children to be socially successful throughout the lifespan using the principles of applied behavior analysis. Everything we do is rooted in research, empirically validated, and proven to work. We take a look at what are considered historically tricky to teach skills through a scientifically rooted framework, which allows us to achieve socially significant change for our clients by providing the support that they need to develop real connections with other people beyond the walls of our center. Justina Balzar and I are the co-founders and CEOs of the Hangout Spot. We are board-certified behavior analysts, otherwise known as BCBAs. We practice the science of applied behavior analysis. In short, that's the science of learning and behavior. Together, we have a combined almost 30 years experience working with children of many different profiles across diagnoses, ages 3 to 21 years old in multiple settings. We are passionate about using our science to help improve the lives of the children we are blessed to serve. If you'd like to learn more, join the Hangout Spot community because we are soon to be accepting new friends. Our website is under construction at www.thehangoutspotllc.com. Our Facebook page will be going live soon, and you can find us at the Hangout Spot LLC or find us now on Instagram. To gain access to our free webinar content, subscribe to the Hangout Spot's YouTube channel. We are excited to meet you soon.